Myself, Umesh Unnikrishnan, many of them may have not met me and connected with me. I am the director of Thiastic Business Consultants. We are a consulting firm working with various government departments. We represent a network of 100 countries to India today, working across 12 sectors. Environment is one of our key sectors. We have worked very closely with MPCB in the past. In fact, a lot of their global collaborations, we have been driving it for Maharashtra. On the other hand, we are also associated with a lot of industrial associations and networking bodies where they are trying to initiate a lot of things. So our primary role has been trying to connect the government industry with the global technologies, which also includes the technologies in India. uh, the reason we have this discussion today is, a lot of people in this segment have been presenting their technologies to in on various platforms. From the global conferences or exhibitions to sessions here like EPAT and all. We have seen a lot of people presenting the technologies. Our role has been in identifying or creating a roadmap for the government where they have multiple times highlighted us where they want to focus on the technology part and how can they reach out to more technologies and try to see how the partnerships can work. So I think there is where we wanted to facilitate or become a bridge between the opportunity and the technologies here. uh, Through our various associations, we try to set up this discussion first. In fact, our whole idea is and the purpose is that what can we drive on ground and not to have technology presentations which are not going towards implementation. We have significant partnerships with the government. I have identified a lot of people who are responsible for this. A few of them could join us today, and I would like to thank all of the officials from the government of Maharashtra and Gujarat, and I think we are expecting somebody from Goa as well, who will be able to at least tell us that which are the two or three areas that we want to focus on. This is more of a brainstorming session, I would say, rather than a presentation or a discussion where we have to think through that how can we support on implementation of technologies on ground. So that's the way we have designed it. With us, we have our partners, Solid Waste India. We have Aninda and Afreen from their team as well, so who are a part of the German organization called EcoProg, who are a very strong consulting firm in the Europe and US. Again, as I said, collaborated between us and Solid Waste India. We reached out first to the associations that what are we trying to do here, which are the areas of concern your industry significantly has. So we have Material Recycling Association of India as a partner. We have SME Chamber who has given us support. Indian Plastic Institute, which is also one of a big player. National Solid Waste Association has been there, but I guess today they could not join us. We have Textile Machinery Association, ITAMMA, who is also there. Our idea is to specifically identify two or three key areas where we want the government to tell us that these are the two three things that we are looking at, and instead of going across on all segments. Now today everybody is talking about climate change and technologies required, which encompasses almost everything under the sky, rather than only on solid waste management. If the government says that let's focus on these two low hanging fruits first, and can we deliberate on that, get the technology players aligned with the government's interest, propose them a couple of pilot projects or something where the business can also get initiated? That's the whole objective. This roadshow, we are focusing on the Western zone. We are similarly having other zonal discussions where we will invite the states from other states also, zones also, and the technology players as well. Going forwards, the idea is that after this discussion, after a couple of months of deliberation, we should be able to co-create some pilot projects which can be proposed to the government departments, which should be sustainable, as well as the government has to have an interest that this is a technologies that we need to explore. So that's the whole objective, and I hope that we are able to have a proper discussion. Afreen will be moderating this session, and I'm sure we have really good people who are there. As again I suggested, the focus is to identify two key areas. one from the government side, and from the industry side, I would suggest that if you may share one or two case studies with other states or other departments which has successfully helped in addressing the problem in solid waste. That will help us clearly define the next steps, and based on those success stories and the demand from the government on this side, we will be able to do a proper matchmaking and propose the next steps of implementation. So I think that's the whole crux of this, and without taking more time, I'd hand it over to Afreen, who can then start inviting the things. Any questions or anything that you have, we will definitely address it post the program. We are all available. As I said, this is just the first step of the discussions, which we will take it forward to other different levels. So we want the discussions to be kept a bit crisp. Just identifying the couple of points, and then Afreen, I think over to you, and you can take it up further from you with our first speaker.
Yes, thank you so much, Umesh, for that introduction. I'm the moderator for the session, Afreen Kadwai. I edit a news and information website on waste management in India. It's called www.solidwasteindia.com. And I've been covering this sector for the last 3 years. And I must say, this is kind of the best time to be in the waste business. There's so much going on thanks to SBM and SBM 2.0. There's so many new opportunities that are available in the market. And the purpose, as Umesh mentioned, of this roundtable is to foster synergies between all the major stakeholders in the waste sector. On one hand, you have the government, the civic officials who are dealing with so many issues in waste management. And then you have the private sector, which has so many innovations, so many technologies and services to provide. So we hope to provide that platform where everyone can engage in a meaningful discussion and come up with impactful solutions. I would like to highlight, as Umesh mentioned, we're going region specific. So this session focuses on the Western region. We'll have sessions on the North and South as well, because waste related problems are very localized and we can't go at the city level at this stage, but definitely at the regional level, we hope to create a meaningful engagement. Without wasting much time, I would like to invite Shri Sameer Unhale. He's the Mission Director of the Swachh Bharat Mission, Government of Maharashtra. Mr. Unhale, I'd like to begin by asking you, what, in your view, are the 3 biggest challenges in Maharashtra in waste management? And what do you think are the kind of technologies that will further help improve this?
Afreenji, thank you very much for this opportunity. And I must congratulate the solid waste management team as well as the TTCWMA team to bring together various people from the corporate, from the government, and also from media for a consultation and discussion, which I think is very, very important. The opportunities with this sector has, I think, at a very fundamental level, at a very fundamental rethinking, would be that there is nothing called waste and everything is a resource. And how do we use a resource in different place, in different time for different person? So I think a very fundamental and very deep rethinking on what exactly waste is. Can we redefine it? And that, I believe, would lead to a very major changes in the way we are trying to handle the entire issue of solid resources within the urban systems, not only here in Maharashtra, but probably in India and also all over the world. That everything is a resource. It's only that you may not require it at this time, but someone else will require it. Someone else will require it at some other place and maybe at other time. And I think this shift, if we are able to implement, execute the very idea of sustainability, the idea of circularity into the way we are handling our urban solid resources, will be, I think, is a major challenge for us, for our generation and for this decade. As to the existing patterns of handling is, waste is something that used to be wished out, to be forgotten, to be not in my backyard, to be thrown somewhere else. Then you require a large number of systems for handling it, and then the entire the setup, the system, the process, the institutions, the behaviors, the entire ecosystem, actually a pyramid gets built upon that. So when we expect someone outside from the outside the sector, I think there's a great opportunity of breaking the idea. He can rethink the sector very new, very differently, and come up with solutions which actually are out of box and very innovative. So I think this would be the first opportunity for the, I think, an important contribution which the solid waste management entrepreneurship, the climate entrepreneurship, the carbon entrepreneurship can bring on table for all the governments, that you can think in an entirely different way, entirely new way of handling, of engaging yourself with this opportunity. So I think this was a more broader, maybe a bit of philosophical issues dealing with the very definitions of what exactly is waste, and that we ought to rethink what it is about. Secondly, I think the scale in which people have to work. I think when the industry is coming up, we do interact with many interesting ideas. Many new startups are coming up. Young generation is getting engaged with it. But I think the second challenge issue is the scale with which we are trying to engage with this problem, or with this challenge, this opportunity. We cannot be minimalistic or very something to start very little, with very little impact, very little capital. I think we will, one of the crux of this decade, I believe, is the speed and the scale. So whatever we are trying to do ought to have the speed and ought to have the scale to which we are trying to. And I think this is where we will really, welcome the industry and also the finance that comes with it. Of course, we are getting good news that, the Indian companies dealing with solid waste management are getting funded by really big names, international finance and asset management companies. So I think that's a good point, that India's solid resource upcycling sector, the used water reuse sector, is getting attention even from international finance, and that's very good. And I think that needs to be capitalized by the industry, that we come up with ideas of scale. We are not going to be this nitty-bitty things are not going to help. The issues in front of us are very big, and we require the scale, and therefore we require the imagination and the courage to come up with most, the highest possible commitments, skills and finances and technologies that we are trying to work for the issues relating with Swachh Bharat. And third, I think, is the skill sets and the manpower and the technology getting accepted within the users as well as the consumers is also an important third challenge, which I think this decade is going to offer to us. It's a very big opportunity for all the people working in this sector that the skill sets will have to be improved and increased upon. But if you really look at the various ways of maybe what are the skill sets that we're looking at? Do we have engineering on solid waste management to look for that matter? Do we have a management courses? How are you going to handle solid resources, the upcycling, the financing, the manpower issues, skill set? So this, I think, is a very important third opportunity of the entire skilling industry that we have in India, the certification industry that we have in India, to prepare a manpower which has the technical requisite skill sets for them to engage as professionals and not as amateurs. We require professionals in this sector. The gravity of the situation is such, that the way we look for a neurosurgeon or a cardiac surgeon, those skill sets and those professionalism, similar, I think, skill sets and therefore compensation packages are also required for people who are going to work in this sector of solid resource upcycling. That's what I choose to call it, and the used water recycling sector of our country. And fourth, lastly, is anything that we do in India will have a global market, because the regional variations in India are so much that you take a coastal state, you take a hilly state, you take a desert state, you take a whichever geographical variations that you find in the world, we have something similar to that in India. So anything that you're going to make successful in India, you ought to think globally. You ought to reconsider yourself as a global player. Don't stop at being working at one municipality or doing small thing here and there. You have to think of giving the leadership that Indian corporate can and has given of the countries of Latin America, for countries of Africa, for countries of Central Asia, of South Asia, whichever. India has the potential of offering leadership intellectually, of offering leadership in entrepreneurship, of offering leadership and partnership, I think, and collaboration with these countries. So please think globally. There are at least more than 100 countries in the world which will be looking up to your skill sets, your knowledge, your professionalism, and your technology. So think globally, don't stop at a very minor and small scale. So offering, these were the four of my thoughts I thought I should share, that this is a sector which is going to define the net zero drive towards what India is looking at, net zero concept of various cities. And we can achieve it much earlier. At least the cities can achieve it much earlier if we focus on solid waste, solid resource upcycling, and the used water recycling phenomena, along with mobility and energy. I think Indian states will achieve those net zero far more earlier than probably when we are considering the entire nation. So, Afrin, thank you. I think I should stop here. I have used much more time than was allotted to me. So, thanks a lot. I hope I could add value for our viewers on that. Thanks a lot.
Indeed. Thank you so much, sir. You did put a lot of perspective and very pertinent points raised by you. Mr. Jadhav, thank you so much for being part of this session. And we would love to hear what the MCGM would have to say on the technologies that can help you at this point in time. What do you think you are looking for, and where can our various attendees help you with?
Yeah, thanks. Thanks the organization for this opportunity. Myself, Praful Jadhav, Executive Engineer in Solid Waste Management Department, MCGM. Now it is BMC, that is Brihanmumbai Municipal Corporations. As most of the participants may be aware, Mumbai is one of the largest metropolis in the country, and we generate about 6,200 to 6,500 metric tons of waste daily. It's quite a huge quantity, as you know. So now my focus points for today's discussion would be to reduce the burden or the load on the landfill sites. And then the second one is about the recycling of dry waste. And the third one is waste to energy. It's converting the waste, as the speaker, director sir spoke about. It is not waste, as we mentioned, it is resource. So I would like to start with the point on reducing the load on the landfill site. As everyone is aware, Mumbai municipality or any municipality in urban areas, land or space constraint is the most important scenario or the aspect for processing or managing the solid waste. In Mumbai, we expect that solid waste to go on increasing, and we have come up with a Vision 2030 document, which was published during July month, and it was published by the State Environment Minister, and wherein we have lined up our proposals or the directives or the targets which we wish to achieve at the end of 2030. So one of that target is to process the waste decentralized way. That is, and that there we wish that industry or private players to play very effective and major role, because as you know, processing the waste in decentralized manner requires expertise and sustainable, what you can say, sustainable financial models. Unfortunately, whatever MCGM has been doing in the past years has not yield any major results as far as sustainability and financial implication is concerned. So that part would be left to the industry participants. The major issue we are facing, the challenges, it is the development of infrastructure, and for developing infrastructure we need technical, financial and knowledge models. The other Mumbai city is facing is the lack of civic sense, because we may have different good innovative ideas, but unless the people who are residing in the city or the floating population, they have some civic sense or discipline regarding not throwing the waste here and there, because we are facing very major issues as the city is very congested and people throw their refuse or garbage in nalas, in roadside drains, on roads or footpaths, everywhere. And even if we try to do any good work, at the end we do not get the desired results. So we wish or we want that industry or private players to come up with ideas regarding the BCC, that is behavioral change communication, or IEC activities, how to come up with the implementable solutions so that we can control this menace of uncivic nature of the people. And then we should have some proper technology in biomethanation or converting wet waste into energy. We do have some decentralized or ward level initiatives, but they are not so successful as yet. Then recycling of the dry waste also, we are working, because as most of us may be aware that MCGM is divided into 24 administrative wards, and we have started decentralized dry waste segregation centers and recycling and baling and some good MRF centers also. But again, unfortunately, I do not have a successful model to display over here. We would require the industry or private players to advise or guide us on these matters. And then third is waste to energy. Waste to energy, fortunately, we have come up with 600 metric ton per 600 metric ton per day disposal site in Devanar dumping ground in Mumbai, where we wish to convert 600 metric ton per day into electricity energy. And LOA has been issued to the private company, and that plant is under setup or under construction. It is likely to be ready by 2025. So that is the factors I have for today's meeting. So the meeting is, the points are there for the discussion, please. Thanks, everyone.
We would like to now invite Mr. Mitesh Shah. He's the Deputy Director of the Ahmedabad Municipal Corporation. Mr. Shah, your municipality is doing so much in legacy waste clearance in particular, but are there any other areas that you're looking for technological solutions to services for that we can probably help identify with our various attendees today?
Good afternoon, madam. Myself, Mr. Mitesh Shah, Deputy Director, serving as a Deputy Director in the Solid Waste Department of the Municipal Corporation since last 33 years. Basically, I am the cost accountant. Just as far as in normal and the general way, just I will tell the one thing: any business or any projects, some concept is has a preeminent role, and I will focus on the concept of the lethal unit. The one expert, he has told the concept of the POSCOP. Just I think almost POSCOP means in any systems, either it is a solid waste department or any other department, it is totally based, and it has a key role. Means the planning, organizing, staffing, directing, reporting, and budgeting, and totally control system of any level as far as the all models and concept is concerned. Whenever just I am talking and I am telling about Ahmedabad city, just it is in area of the 479 square kilometers with the populations of the 73 lakhs. Moreover, the 27 lakhs populations is the floating populations. Solid waste management sanitation staff of the Municipal Corporation is more than 13,000, and the solid waste ton per day is 5,200 per day. As far as the vehicles used in the solid department, it is more than the 1,500. But nowadays, certain types of the challenges have come in the knowledge, and the most of the challenges, just you are told that the Ahmedabad Municipal Corporation has acted the most important role in the bio-mining project, just as a Tirana, and we have cleared the majority land. But the major problem is the concern with the RDF. It has a bigger issues. As far as the inerts and the debris are concerned, they can be used, and it can be used in a proper way. But in that way, the RDF has a major issues. Moreover, to accelerate the solid waste system, the 100% segregation is the must, 100%. And for that, the behavioral change. In the behavioral change, one approach of the carrot and stick approach. Carrot and stick approach means the reward and the punishment approach. Because only the accelerations of the behavioral change approach, their system will accelerate the whole system. Suppose who has done the excellent thing, just we have to go for the stick and done not good things, then it will be included in the carried effort. So it has to be done in the proper way. Moreover, the techno-economical models and the problems for the unions are also have a greater role in the systems. To accelerate the system of the solid department, the reg pickers, one has to go for the reg pickers analyze in the format, and the IEC activity, whenever just we are going for the IEC activity, whole system will be accelerated. Man, machines, materials, money, management, and at the time of the motive power and market, just it is also has the important and the completed role of this system. Moving towards the latest technology, just one has to go for this. As far as our city is concerned, the present five plants are working the Excel, Baruch environmental, Amber environmental, and the NEPRA respectively in the wet west and the dry west. Future project of the AMCs are the Abel on the West Energy plant. It's the big plants, Ecovisions, NAFED, and the Bio CNG, etc. So just my focus will be on the in the crux. Just I will say only that the problem of the RDF, the major issues in the legacy is 100% segregation is concerned. Then it must be done, and for that the behavior, because whenever just we are not in position to change the behavior, then it has no effect, or the result will be we will not obtain the proper result for this year. And we have to go for the minimizations of the working the unions problem. This is the main thing. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for that concise overview. IEC seems to be a major concern with a lot of ULBs, like Mr. Jadhav also mentioned. And there are a lot of companies that are doing some good work. Some of them are present here, and maybe they can also talk about it. Some knowledge partners also might have some case studies of how cities are tackling this issue. Moving forward, we have Sahil Kamath, environmental engineer from the Goa Waste Management Corporation.
Myself, Sahil Kamath. I work as an engineer at Goa Waste Management Corporation, which is situated in Goa. So the major challenge which Goa has is the generation of waste. So the thing is like we generate around 800 tons of waste on a day-to-day basis, which is 100 tons daily. But the major challenge in Goa is during the peak seasons, which is from October, November, December, and January, because these are the touristic seasons in Goa. So the thing is, I actually wanted to highlight on the challenges which GWMC as a government corporation is facing in the state of Goa. The thing is, most importantly, as I was saying, the Goa is generating a huge chunk of waste during the peak seasons, which is the tourist seasons in Goa, which is October, November, December, and January. These are the 4 seasons where almost the waste is doubled. The population is Goa, the floating population also doubles at that time, because that is the influx of tourists which come to Goa as compared to any other state as compared. Okay, so to tackle that, we have put 2 MSW facilities in Goa, which are catering to around 250 TPD each. One is in Salegaon, and one is in Kakora, which are like one is in the north and one is in the south. So here we are running at full capacities, as in how the waste is incoming into the plant. Okay, so Goa is also in a process of building more such plants. One which will be in Bangini, one will be in Venna, but that is in pipeline. So as a government corporation, we have set up 2 facilities at the moment for MSW. Similarly, we are all talking about solid waste over here. Along with solid waste, I would just like to highlight that Goa has also hazardous waste, biomedical waste, and e-waste facilities which are already in place. So for hazardous waste, we are having a plant which is currently come up in the Pisulim IDC, which is using the sanitary landfill is only present at the moment. The treatment is what we need to cater to at the moment. The biomedical waste which is in Kunde, we are treating around another 100 APD of waste in biomedical facility. So all the waste, amputed parts, body parts, or the machinery, everything, it goes to the biomedical waste facility in Goa. So we have an indigenous facility in the state which can cater to the biomedical waste also. Also, the e-waste facility is coming up in Kolwale, which at the moment Goa state is collecting all the e-waste from different aggregators and recyclers. Okay, so the e-waste which is collected also is been treated in the state. So these are the things which we as a corporation have been doing in the state. Also, I would like to highlight on the capacity of our reach of our corporation. You can say that we are collecting dry waste from all the schools in Goa, which are 404 schools in Goa. We collect from 194 village panchayats, also 11 municipalities. We collect waste from all these things and we are treating that waste. Now, what do I mean by treating? thing is that we, as the previous speaker was saying, that the plastic has calorific value, and also it can be used in cement factories for co-incineration and cement kilns. So that's what exactly I would like to highlight, is that when we bale this particular waste, bale is nothing but we convert them into a cube-like structure using baling machines. So we tell the panchayats or the municipalities to bale the waste. So we handhold with them, we pick this waste up, we send it to the cement factory. So we call this an RDF. Now, what do we mean by RDF? Is refuse derived fuel, which has the plastic which has no absolute value, and it just has calorific value, which can directly burnt in place of coal. So tomorrow, if 10 tons of coal is being used in cement kilns, we use around 6 tons of coal and 4 tons of plastic maybe. That's how we have been sustainable in managing this plastic. Of course, there will be some pollution, there will be some different kind of compounds which will be emitted out, but of course this is the solution which we are following towards at the moment. Then we have also done the legacy waste, which is being, as so the previous speaker said, that Prayagraj has millions and millions and dumps of waste. So even Goa had around 11 dumps of waste, which is not as huge as that. If any person must have come to Goa, the biggest dump site in Goa is called as Sonsodo, the biggest dump site, which has around 2 lakh cubic meters of waste, and Sada, which had around 1 lakh cubic meter of waste. So at this, as this corporation, we have remediated all the dump. Biomining has happened already. The Sonsoda dump is going to end by May 2023, and y'all can say, anytime you come to Goa, this waste has already been remediated. The waste has been filled in landfills, and the RDF has been sent to cement kilns for co-incineration. So these are just the few of the things, like we had challenges, how we overcome. Even the Saligaon plant, I would just like to highlight one last thing, is that a Saligaon plant, which today I'm sitting right now over here, was a huge dump site, which had around 1.5 lakh cubic meter quantity of waste. We remediated the entire dump, and at the same dump site, wherever there was, we have set up a plant, which is again today treating 250 TPD of waste. Also, track pickers who were staying on that plant with their dump which was there before here. So what we have done is we hired those same people in our plant who are helping us in segregating that waste. So that is how we have converted whatever available resource into the benefit of the public of Goa. So these are certain things. Also, Goa on a whole has played a huge role in the SBM open defecation free. So we have constructed around 17,000 IHL, which is individual household latrines, toilets in the entire state. So our office was the nodal agency for open defecation free, eradication of open defecation free, which was the Swacch Bharat mission for the last year in SBM1. So yeah, thank you. If any queries, any questions anyone has, I'm very much welcome for it. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Kamath, for telling us all that Goa has been doing to deal with its waste, not just solid waste, but other streams as well. We have Mr. Suresh Agrawat now from the Gujarat Pollution Control Board. Mr. Agrawat, if you can unmute yourself and give us a perspective on what are some of the specific challenges in terms of technology, service requirements that Gujarat is facing.
Myself, Dr. S.N. Agrawat, head SWM cell of GPCB Gandhinagar. Already, I think so many points has been discussed in detail. Some points I would like to share is mainly as a regulator. Number of ULBs in Gujarat is around 164. ULBs has obtained authorization is very less compared to the figure. Door-to-door collection is almost 100%. Solid waste generated is around 10,000 tons per day. Solid waste process is around 86 to 90%. Total legacy waste is around 260 lakh metric ton. From that, remediation part done is around 115 lakh metric ton. And right now, as per the data, remediation pending for the legacy waste is around 145 lakh metric ton per day. Apart from that 164 ULPs, particularly if I say or focus on Mahanagar Palika means Municipal Corporation, Surat, Jamnagar and Gandhinagar are doing very well compared to others. Some challenges or tasks which are actually creating some problem, or it must be resolved as early as possible. That one is mainly a waste to energy. The waste to energy perspective, earlier it is already informed that waste is not a waste, it's a resource. And as if I consider as a chemistry fellow, So the waste is a resource, and resource must be atomically managed, means atom energy. That is as per green chemistry principle, if I say atom economy. So that concept we have to go, that will lead us for our sustainable development as a human, good human being. In that area, so many points has been already discussed. Scientific approach is needed. Whatsoever procedure we are adopting for the treatment part, that must be cost viable. The techniques or technology we are adopting, that must be robust. Awareness, including that some skilled manpower is needed. Some other professor or sir is there, they approach or indicated regarding the professional approach. In this area, there is no professional approach has been observed. So that's a major issue. The thing or the technology whatsoever adopted by the ULBs, that is not succeeded. Apart from that, I unable to share all the data and details on this platform. So that's my humble request to adopt some scientific approach, particularly for waste to energy part, particularly for landfill side. So many plastic and bylaws are framed, but it must be worked properly. That's the minimum and maximum rate. So that is enough from my side. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Your perspective is very valuable. We do need scientific solutions. Waste management is a science. It's not just people management, and we need, scientists here who get involved. We need lots of technical support, which is what this platform is really here for. We have different service providers, technology providers, innovators who can share their experiences, what they have been doing with their technologies. Thank you so much, sir, for that. I would also now like to move on in this discussion. We've heard a lot from the government side, but I think we also need more perspective from the knowledge experts, from the industry partners, from the the technological representatives who can give us the other side of this whole waste management quagmire. Mr. Palikar, you've heard our civic authorities here. You've heard our, the public officials giving you their challenges, and I know that you are also in touch with the ground realities. What are some of the examples of good practices that you can share with them? Some kind of connection, some joining the dots that we can do over here for Mr. Jadhav, for Mr. Shah, for all our participants here today.
Sure, Afrin, thank you so much for inviting. Yes, it's very interesting field in terms of ensuring that wastes are managed as resources, as Mr. Unare said, and I think that is the need of the hour. My name is Ulhas Parlikar. I retired as a director of ACC Cement. I had the pleasure of building the concept of co-processing in cement kilns, all kinds of waste. And I'm very happy that all the cement kilns are currently, almost all, currently utilizing RDF and other plastic waste and other waste in the cement kilns. After retirement, I am also associated with several, initiatives related to waste management. And I thought, let me share one incident which I did recently, which will probably give some inputs to the municipalities, to the ULB authorities. I had the opportunity of working with GIZ on a project in Uttar Pradesh, where how do we really deal with the dump yards? Because the dump yard remedying technology is there, and in most of the places, wherever it is being done, I think technology is not a constraint. It is being done. The constraint is finance. Every time when we try to look at the option of implementing such a solution, the concern from ULB is always that where do I get funds from? So the question is, can we build a business model by having involvement of relevant stakeholders so that the load of the expenditure on the ULBs can be reduced? So that was the objective which Uttar Pradesh government had set to GIZ, and I had the opportunity of working on it on the field. And I thought I'll just share with you so that it'll add some value to the other ULBs also in taking forward initiatives at their end. You see, today the EPR, plastics EPR, is an instrument, is a policy where the brands or the PIBOs are required to fulfill their obligation of taking back or at least sustainably manage the packaging waste that they are putting into the environment, into the marketplace. They have to spend money for that, right? Because that is the obligation, right? That means there is some amount of money which can come into that particular, scenario where the packaging waste is there. Right. The second is the cement kilns or the waste to energy plants. Now both need energy, calorific value, so that they can utilize that as a resource and gainfully, benefit from it. So there are two stakeholders now. One is PIBO and second is the cement kiln. Both have something in the dump yard, and dump yard is one case which I have taken and I have demonstrated, but I'm saying even for the municipal solid waste, the same thing can hold good. So there are these two agencies who want to utilize that resource which is there in the dump. If we are able to quantify the packaging waste or the plastic waste or whatever is of interest under the EPR policy to these PIBOs, we can kind of ask them to bid for it. Suppose, if you have, like for example, Prayagraj has a dump site which has got approximately 1 million ton of dump site material. So, and when we did the analysis, we found that about 20% of plastics is there. So almost 2 lakh tons of plastics is there, which is of interest to PIBOs. Without doing any work, they will be able, if they are able to sustainably send it for its management, then they don't have to do much work. It's easily available for them to do something. Cement kilns, they also want this material. So if they also bid for it, that material is available as a resource. And they have a clear understanding of the resource available, the energy security which is required for them, at what cost it is available. So it's a very, very kind of a positive sort of an environment for both the stakeholders to really participate in this particular venture. So a rough study, although the actual numbers are going to get worked out very soon by asking people to bid and form form some tripartite agreement with the ULBs, cement kiln and PIBOs or PROs. What we are saying is that a large chunk of money which is involved in remedying this particular dump yard will come into the scenario. And that will reduce the cost of remedying such dump yards substantially. The rough, it depends on how much transportation of the RDF that you have to do to the cement kiln. But in some cases, there could be a net revenue to the ULB, and in some cases, there'll be a small expenditure to the ULBs. So it's a model which possibly can be looked at, should be looked at by the authorities. And I'm saying that you can also extend it to the normal municipal solid waste which you are generating. Anyway, all the municipalities today are trying to have the source segregation as much as possible. When the rule was not there of 2016, way back in 2011, when I had the opportunity of working on a town which was adjacent to our plant in near Coimbatore, a town called Madhukarai, we instituted a segregation process where source segregation was not happening, but a beautiful methodology of segregating the material into dry, wet, and domestic hazardous from one house to another. When the cart moves from one house to another, the segregation happens, and that goes for the treatment process. And there is zero landfill today in that place. absolutely no landfills in 2011. So if we are able, and that's a business model. Earlier, we spent money from our CSR to support it. All the IEC, etc., that we talked about, yes, we involved through our CSR. A lot of initiatives of bringing awareness of the students, of the communities, of the authorities, panchayat authorities, etc., was done. Even to the workers who are involved in doing this activity, and it really worked. So I think there are models which are possible. I think we need to work on that and build such models. I'm sure it will work. If there's any question, I can always answer that. But if there's more time, I can say a lot more things also. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Parlikar. Your perspective is very insightful indeed. And like you mentioned, we need new financial models, and EPR is one such tool. One stream that is a big concern for every municipality is plastic waste. And giving us a perspective on that is Mr. Pankaj Shah. He's the chairman of the Indian Plastic Institute. Mr. Shah, if you can just give us your insights into plastic waste management and how ULBs are coping with this. What are the kind of technologies they can tap, and what are your thoughts on this issue?
Thanks for giving us the opportunity to give certain views on behalf of Indian Plastic Institute. Of course, we are related with the plastics, no doubt about it. But, the basic point which I would like to stress upon is to have the collection centers. We don't have a collection centers, and where we need to have the support of the government bodies. Okay. Unless and until you have the collection center at the source. If you see the model of Indore, and they also have the big dump yard where NSWAI is doing segregating the waste of many kinds. So the collection center at the source is the main concern. We at IPI can play the role of educating the citizens. One should approach with the help of all organizations like yours. We should approach to the societies with a large, like if I residing in Mumbai, and if we talk about the problems which BMC is facing, the best way is to educate the people. Unless and until we educate the people, whether it is plastic, cement, or any kind of waste, okay, till such time we are unable to address the issues of the waste. Okay. So many technology can be available. We have in our organizations, there are many doctors, consultants, manufacturers who can help in setting up the waste segregation plant and everything. But here, I would like to request the government representative who are here to, support to have the centers, collection centers, and we should try upon the collecting the waste, educating, and upon the special contractor for them, and start collecting. Unless and until collection and the segregation is done to the fullest, nothing can be done. This is what we see. So I personally feel that let us come together. It's a high time that we are organizing recycling seminars, conferences, and so on. Everybody is talking about solid waste and all. But now it's a high time that we should start working on the ground level to address the issues which are being faced today by the environment of the country. So this is what in nutshell, I would like to say. We are ready to help to any organization in terms of providing the technology. One of my colleague from plastic industry, Haren Sangviji, is also related with plastic and environment committee. He is also going to talk about what he can help, because he's in a very big manufacturing of recycled machinery. So we are there to support, and whichever way, in whatever form, we can give the guidance. I personally feel that we should create the team, address to the individual society, address the and educate the citizen. I mean, particularly in Mumbai area, even if you see a guy eating the vapors and throwing the pouches of the vapor on the railway track, so unless and until the basic sense is created among the citizens, nothing can be done. I
Absolutely.
personally feel let's adopt the model of indoor and create the infrastructure like NEFRA, where I think so the big industries can definitely put in their money through their CSR fund. And I think it's not so, difficult to address and work on the solid waste management. This is my view in nutshell. We are ready to help anywhere with our organization because we are an educational body.
Yes.
We are not industry, but at the same time, we are ready to support.
Yeah.
And we would like to be the part of it. And all technical help, all technologies can be provided to, any kind of machinery investment. All we can find the resources, and that can help to address the solid waste management. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Shah. Very well said. We all need to work together. Solid waste management can't be done by one organization or one individual. Everyone needs to join hands together.
Yeah.
And that is why we want something concrete to come out of this.
I personally feel the basic education is to require for each and every individual citizen.
Yes.
It can start with my own home. So
correct.
Like this.
Yes,
So
and that is a concern raised by so many municipalities who here also.
So I mean, this is all municipalities is facing the same issue.
Yeah.
So unless and until we create the sense of responsibility of throwing the garbage here and there, rather than and collection center is most important. That's what I personally think.
Okay.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much. And I do hope that this platform can create some concrete solutions. We don't just want this to be another event where we all meet and go back home, but we want some meaningful engagement to come out of this, which is why we have very selected people here who can interact with each other and explain what services they have to offer. The ULBs can share their requirements. And I think that's the whole purpose of this.
I'm quite sure the industries will come forward to, support.
Yes, thank you so much.
I personally feel there are many industrialists who can support this.
Absolutely.
By creating the infrastructure for any kind of machinery they are looking for.
Okay, great. Thank you, Mr. Shah. We look forward to your support, and I'm sure that everyone present here will also approach you directly.
Yeah, because we are also working with ICC, International Council for Circular Economy. So, we can provide any kind of knowledge.
Great. Thank you so much. That is very essential component, knowledge management, data management, PCC, all this very important components. Let's not underestimate. We have Mr. Siddharth Shivkumar. He is from the Thane Creek Waste Management Association. Mr. Shivkumar, you're primarily an environmental monitoring agency. What do you want to share with us on this platform today in terms of coming up with concrete waste management solutions for the big challenges that we're all facing today in the sector?
I'm Siddharth. I represent Thane Creek Waste Management Association. We cater to the Thane Belapur Industries as a TSDF, a hazardous waste disposal facility. So, the first thing that I'd like to kind of speak about is, yes, it's very satisfying that over a decade, the industry and the ecosystem in general has finally recognized waste as something that could be converted into a resource. But I think that is also acting against us in some way, because the minute we put the word resource against our waste, the owner of the waste, in most cases the industries or the urban local body upon whom the liability of disposing or managing that waste is, the minute we keep talking waste as if it is a ready-made resource, there is a problem in terms of commensurating the agency that is managing the waste properly. So I have also worked very closely with a solid waste management company, a leading solid waste management company out of Bombay. And I have, with my limited experience, personally seen various urban local bodies on their tender documents almost reducing the waste management tipping fee. It's almost like we want the maid that comes to our house to clean our home to pay us. It has almost reached that point today. So waste, even though could be considered as a resource, there is a cost to converting that resource into a clean resource. As a society, as a citizen, we are willing to pay 100 rupees a liter on fuel for driving our vehicles, but as a community, we don't seem to be eager to pay a proper cost to manage a resource which is our waste, and which is what is disheartening. With the presence of technology, it all comes with a cost. So I think the first challenge is we have already accepted waste as a resource. The next challenge is to move away from that adolescence into an adult society wherein we consider the cost to convert that waste into a resource. Yes, there is a cement kiln that is willing to convert that into an energy, but there is a cost to prepare. It's called pre-processing, right? There are a lot of pre-processing licenses being given out by the pollution control boards today. There is a cost to pre-process because a cement kiln is not going to accept a dump yard waste directly from a truck into their kiln. There is a cost to prepare that waste, and those costs have to be considered, and I think we have to address those points. I think one of the participants, the gentleman, Mr. Ullas Pardikar, has rightly pointed out that there are avenues available to manage waste, but channelizing that waste avenue requires an intermediary agency that can convert that waste as a resource to provide to that avenue in proper terms. That is all I have to offer as an opinion to the elite crowd out here, because a lot has been spoken as already. Waste is definitely a resource, but let's keep in mind the cost to convert that into a clean resource. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. That cost. We have Shri N.D. Mhatre. He's the Director General of ITAMMA, the Indian Textile Accessories and Machinery Manufacturers Association. Mr. Mhatre, if you can hear me, you represent the textile engineering industry. Textile waste is a growing concern for a lot of municipalities. Most of the textile waste ending up in landfills. What is your perspective on this entire issue? What do you think is the sector perspective on waste management?
Good afternoon, madam. And thank you very much for the organizers for inviting me to this webinar. In fact, I'm a Director General with ITAMMA. ITAMMA is the oldest and largest association of textile supply industry, that is machinery industry. And we have been doing a lot of activities for our members, whereby they can concentrate on the reduction of the waste. Now, main waste which has been seen here is a metallic waste, where they are manufacturing the components and machine, and that is recycled and that can be reused. But we have introduced a lean manufacturing program, especially, to take care of the process and the sequence of their manufacturing activities, whereby they were able to this was definitely supported by Ministry of MSME, and it has benefited a lot to my members, as well as overall waste have been reduced. Then coming to the user industry, see, there are two types of textile industry. One is supply industry, where I am from, where manufacturing of machines and components take place. And another is user industry, where fiber, yarn and fabric manufacturing, apparel and garment takes place. The textile consumption is 0.79 kg per person. And textile consumption around the world is over 100 million tons, while the rate of recycling is only 13% of the total material input, where only 1% to produce new clothing. Then textile waste account for almost 5% of landfill spaces. However, the recycled post consumer textile waste are barely 15% annually. And thus a huge 85% of waste ends up in landfill. Now we have to see the present trend of textile industry. The textile industry is diverted, or the trend is towards man-made fibers rather than from cotton fibers. The cotton industry is definitely producing a lot of waste, but it's a natural fiber. So most of the waste is being absorbed in the landfill and it is not that much harmful. But the waste which is coming from man-made fibers like polyester, today polyester has around 51% of the total global fiber production, while cotton is coming down to 25%. If you see from 26 million tons to 50 million tons, the polyester has increased, while from 31 million tons to 32 million tons, only the cotton fiber has rise. So linear economy needs to be replaced now by circular economy. Circular economy is based on the principles of designing out waste and pollution, keeping products and materials in use and regenerating natural system. Now, if you focus in textile industry, there are 4 important zones: spinning, weaving, wet processing, and garment. In spinning, if you see, the spinning and weaving industry is developing a hard waste, and the waste which is being developed is mainly from the raw material due to machine abrasion. It's the flying of fluff, then excess yarn, and that type of waste. But you will find wet waste, that is dyes and chemicals and water consumption is mainly in processing industry, which is hazardous. There are a lot of development which have been taken part in textile industry, like in spinning, recycling machines have come, tearing machines have come. So they are reusing this waste. In weaving, the plasma technology is come. Then knotter process has been replaced by splicer. Splicer is been replaced by welding technology. So these new technologies has come, whereby we were able to reduce the hard waste in the form of threads, fibers, or yarns rather. Now, if you see in oil lubrication activity also, you have seen there are a lot of development taken place, right from conventional lubrication to centralized lubrication, and then automated lubrication. So you will not find any waste of lubricant. Previously, conventional, you find the lubricant were used open oil holes, and they were wasted, and they were fallen on the ground, and a lot of waste has been. Then they got embedded in the cotton fluff, which is flying here and there. Again, you will find the compressors is been replaced by suction, the suction air. So these types of technologies have already been taken place. Now, I am having 2 important points to convey today. One is, see, if you see the waste, many people have said waste has to be seen as a resources. Of course, if you see the human body also, it creates a waste. But this waste, there are 2 types of waste. One waste has to be destroyed, and another waste can be used as a recycled one. Now, human body waste, we always see that urine and excreta has to be destroyed. But when we consider a person going to the doctor, and doctor is giving him a prescription to go to the pathological lab and get these things tested, so that he can evaluate what is going on inside the person. So we should see to the waste from this angle also. Even in case of machinery waste also, or the waste which is there in textile industry, if certain amount of waste is coming out of the machines, we should evaluate this waste so that the machine performance can be evaluated. We should convey this concept to the industry that we can evaluate the performance of the machine from the quantity of waste, the type of the weight, and a special audit can be converted. And this can be, supported by the government. And then we can go in the industry, convey them, so automatically the waste will be reduced. Where to reduce, how to reduce, there are many consultants who are doing this audit. This is the one process. Second, the government can connect the other government. Like textile industry can be connected with handicraft industry. Handicraft. The waste is always been used by handicraft industry. We see a lot of toys coming out. So what is that? The waste of cotton. we see many types of threads which have been wasted are used by handicraft industry. So if government is able to connect these two industry, nothing like that, we should form a cluster. So this waste can be used by that industry as a resource on the one platform. So there, the logistic, everything will be reduced and come down. So these are the 2-3 points which at present, because only 5 minutes have been offered, there is a lot to say, but I will curtail my suggestion here only. And once again, I thank you and thank you very much. Only I would like to convey one message. Don't say we want to go green. Say that we want to grow green. Then automatically we will grow green. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that perspective. We need to really rethink, rewire our brains to think differently. And everything that you've said here requires a shift in the patterns of thinking, in the patterns of design, everything. So I do hope that as the new generation comes up, they will also kind of take this forward. That's the whole point here, right? To sustainably develop.
One more thing, can I add? I'm sorry.
Sure.
If you take the cow dung, it's also waste, but it has been utilized for the health problem.
Correct.
So we have to see from that angle.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for that. I really would like to close by just saying there's so much interesting stuff going around in the industry. We just need to connect the dots and bring people together. Hopefully, this platform will help facilitate that. I would now like Aninda Sen, the head of marketing for Solid Waste India, to provide the closing comments and a session summary. Aninda, over to you.
Thank you, Afreen, and thank you everybody for your time to make it to this virtual roundtable. And so many points, if I were to enlist all of them, I think I'm going to take a lot of more time. But top of the mind, one of the things that came out is implementation of solid waste management would require speed and scale. And that is something, that is one of the key parameters, but to solve this conundrum of solid waste management. And of course, along with that, the skill set development and the various financial models, that we can look at. There are many more, we can cross-pollinate a lot of these models that are available in the public domain and see what works best. So as all of you know, that this is not a one and done program. Okay, the overarching objective of these virtual roundtable series is, as Afreen put it right at the beginning, is to foster a shared vision for solid waste management in India, wherein we talk about how we can be very cohesive and we can collectively work towards, a pollution-controlled and sustainable future, and thereby create an ecosystem and a meaningful engagement. So this platform is absolutely neutral and all-inclusive, and that has been our endeavor right from the beginning. Just to take things forward, we will, because today was a very closed door brainstorming session of sorts, if you will. So we did not have a larger audience. So the plan is that, we will reproduce the same program in a larger format, which will be a physical one. And that would be in the format of a roadshow, where, we will have a little more discussion, because today what we did was what we would call warm introductions, which kind of gave us some idea as to what the focus area is for the government, what are the solutions that they're looking for, and what are the technological interventions that are available to address those specific problem areas. So in the physical format, we will take a deep dive into all these areas, and discuss all of that threadbare. And there, the technology intervention, the companies who are providing the solutions, they will get an opportunity to amplify your message, to talk about what are the various business models that you have, what kind of technology that will best fit those problem statements. And, the audience also will be, there will be an audience, with the audience will comprise of, senior, thought leaders, as well as decision makers from the government, as well as from the industry. Okay? And in terms of the success matrices, we will look at this exercise. We got a pretty good idea as to what the alignment we are looking at in terms of the technological intervention. And as Umesh mentioned right at the beginning, this program is basically a bridge between, what the government is looking for, because they are the ones, who basically are the biggest procurement, demand that is there, and, what kind of technological interventions or solutions are available. So what we will be tracking very closely when we do these physical programs is to what kind of pilot programs or projects can be instituted with very clear, success matrices, and also, signing of some memorandums of understanding, where, these can be put into practice. So that's, the whole idea. And there will be a series of these virtual roundtables. As Umesh mentioned right at the beginning, this is only for the Western region. We will have one for the North, we will have one for the South, and then there will be a physical, construct of these virtual roundtables, in similar, zones. So that's all that I had to share with you. And to close this particular session, I will hand it over to Umesh.
Yeah, thank you, Aninda. Thank you, Afreen, for, I think it was a challenging task to get so many points at the short notice and short duration. I thank everybody, especially from the government side, also to make time available, and the industry side as well, to put their points. Uh, as Aninda also mentioned, and what our idea is, we would want to connect with individually each of you. As we said, we want to work as an interface between you and the government. We want to see how we can translate these discussions into some opportunities of business and technology implementation, which is what we want to showcase during our physical program, where we can actually showcase this is how it can be done, and what are the models where we can have an execution partnership with the government. So I would request everybody to be in touch with my colleague Radhika, who has been absent on this screen, but she has been working back end on every connection with every individual stakeholder here. Thank you, Radhika, for that. And I would like to thank all our partners, Times Group, who has come on board as a media partner. In fact, one of the Times Group member has been with me in our office to both, being part of this. National Solid Waste Association, Material Recycling Association, SME Chamber, TTC Creek Waste Association, Management Association, ITAMMA, Indo-American Chamber of Commerce, and Indian Plastic Institute. All of you guys, thank you for whatever contributions you could, help us with in this short duration. We look forward to now creating project concepts with all your support. Technology players, this is essentially for you guys that we want to bring this opportunity. And as you heard about every government, there are opportunities that they are scouting for, but there are limited people who are being able to reach out to them. So we want to try and exponentially give those opportunities across. That's the whole objective. And looking forward to having more interactions individually. And thank you, Mr. Shah, and other association partners also who have been helping us. And I think with this, we conclude our first interaction. Looking forward to the next ones very soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you all. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.